right, so going into part three. So basically, as I said in part one and two, I mentioned that how witchcraft is manipulation. And so manipulation is basically, you can look it up in dictionary. It's really getting someone to bend to your will, and that's what witchcraft is, and that's what the serpent did, Satan in the Garden of Eden with Eve. Now we also have to pay close attention on why did he choose Eve, but that's another story for another time. But what he did in there is basically the practice of witchcraft. And as I mentioned in the Bible, it does says in the NIV version that the serpent was really good with his, he was very crafty at whatever he does. And so you have to pay attention to that keyword craft, crafty. And so when you now see people in witchcraft, a witch is basically just a person, or so anything that is in a body, can become a tool for witchcraft. And that's why many times animals are used in witchcraft, and many of them practice that practice witchcraft in the occult would have an animal, a familiar, a familiar spirit, that can be embodied into animals or any living things in general. So you really have to think about yourself. Oh, is it really men that came up with that witchcraft? No, but that supernatural being, knew exactly how to manipulate the minds of men. He knew, because you got to think of yourself when he created, when God created humans. They watched how everything was created, and that's really how also the jealousy um, came into Lucifer's heart, because he saw how the love that God poured into man, and the care and attention that he felt maybe didn't get, and wanted to take over. So there's so many aspects. So a lot of his desires of what he wanted, really got poured into man when they disobeyed. He could not do it before, but he had to get them to break the covenant with God and then infiltrate